His plane went down. What he flew home will shock you. His plane was shot down deep behind enemy lines. 4 days later, he came back flying the enemy's fighter, while his own side tried to shoot him down. November 2, 1944. Late afternoon. High above occupied Czechoslovakia, an American fighter pilot glances at his instruments and immediately understands the danger. The oil pressure gauge on his P-51 Mustang has fallen to zero. Thick black smoke pours from the engine cowling, streaking past the canopy. The Merlin engine is tearing itself apart. Only moments earlier, Lieutenant Bruce Carr had been leading a strafing attack on a German airfield. Now, a fragment from an 88mm anti-aircraft shell has ripped through the engine bay, severing the oil line. Without oil, the powerful Rolls-Royce Merlin will destroy itself in less than 2 minutes. Once it seizes, the spinning propeller will turn the aircraft into dead weight. Carr knows what comes next. He slides the canopy back, rolls the crippled Mustang inverted, and drops into the freezing November air. The cold slams into his body as he falls toward enemy territory. At 8,000 feet, his parachute opens. Below him lies occupied Europe in every direction. Carr hits the ground hard, twisting his ankle on landing. Pain shoots up his leg. He is alive, but alone. More than 200 miles behind German lines. No radio. No supplies. No support. His only weapon is a .45 caliber pistol with 7 rounds. November nights here fall below freezing. For downed American pilots, the odds are brutal. Fewer than 1 in 4 will evade capture. The rest will spend the war in prison camps, or vanish without a trace. Bruce Carr is about to become the exception. Bruce Ward Carr was born on January 28, 1924, in Union Springs, New York. His childhood was unremarkable, except for one thing. At the age of 15, Carr learned to fly. The year was 1939. That same year, Germany invaded Poland and the world plunged into war. Carr didn't know what lay ahead, but flying captured him completely. A local crop duster named Earl allowed the teenage Carr to take control of a biplane. One flight was enough to change his life. By the time he turned 16, Carr had accumulated more flight time than many military cadets. In September 1942, at just 18 years old, Carr enlisted in the United States Army Air Forces. Fate intervened again. His instructor was the same man who had first taught him to fly. Recognizing Carr's experience, he pushed him into an accelerated program. By 1944, Carr was flying combat missions over Europe in the P-51 Mustang. The Mustang was revolutionary. Fast, long-ranged, heavily armed, it finally allowed American fighters to escort bombers all the way to Germany and back. German pilots had a nickname for it, the long-nosed bastard. Carr named his aircraft Angel's Playmate. Carr flew aggressively, instinctively. On his first engagement, he chased a German fighter at treetop level for miles, an action that earned him a reprimand rather than praise. Where others saw recklessness, Carr saw opportunity. By mid-1944, his kill count was rising quickly. He fought over Normandy, Germany, and occupied Europe. In September, he destroyed 3 enemy aircraft in a single mission, then escorted a damaged wingman home instead of pursuing more kills. For that, he earned the Silver Star. By late October, Carr was officially an ace. 4 days later, his Mustang was shot out of the sky. After landing in Czechoslovakia, Carr buried his parachute and made a decision that defied instinct. Instead of moving toward Allied territory, he moved north, deeper into enemy-controlled land. The Germans would expect him to flee. They would search outward. They would not expect him to move closer to their airfield. 4 days, Carr traveled through forests at night, avoiding roads and patrols. He had no food. Hunger gnawed at him constantly. His injured ankle slowed him with every step. By the 3rd day, exhaustion and starvation were overwhelming. He began to consider surrender. Then, on the 4th day, he reached the edge of a German airfield. From the trees, Carr observed hangars, fuel trucks, and parked fighters. One aircraft caught his attention, a Focke-Wulf FW-190, partially hidden beneath camouflage netting. Mechanics finished servicing it, ran the engine, shut it down, and walked away. The aircraft was fueled, inspected, and ready. Carr changed his plan instantly. In the early morning hours, he crossed open ground toward the fighter. The cockpit was unfamiliar, German labels, strange systems, unknown controls, but flight principles were universal. Carr spent hours in darkness identifying instruments by position and feel. Finally, through trial and error, he brought the engine to life. The roar echoed across the field. There was no time left. Carr pushed the throttle forward and aimed between hangars. Shouts erupted behind him as the FW-190 surged down the ground and lifted into the air just before dawn. Bruce Carr was flying a stolen German fighter, deep behind enemy lines. He flew low, skimming treetops to avoid radar and anti-aircraft fire. When he crossed into Allied territory, his danger increased. Allied gunners saw only a German fighter approaching their lines. They opened fire. With no radio and German markings still visible, Carr flew even lower, sometimes less than 20 feet above the ground. Tracers ripped past the cockpit. Bullets struck the airframe. Finally, he reached his base in France. Then came the final problem. The landing gear would not deploy. With anti-aircraft guns tracking him, Carr cut power and belly landed the FW-190 across a grassy field, sliding to a violent stop. Armed soldiers surrounded the aircraft. They expected a German pilot. Instead, an American climbed out. Bruce Carr became the only Allied pilot in World War II to be shot down in an American fighter and return in a German one. His war was not over. In April 1945, Carr led 4 P-51s into a formation of more than 60 German fighters. Against every rule, he attacked. In minutes, he personally destroyed 5 enemy aircraft. His flight destroyed 15. For this, he received the Distinguished Service Cross. Carr went on to fight in Korea and Vietnam, flying more than 500 combat missions across 3 wars. He retired as a colonel. When he was buried at Arlington National Cemetery, his headstone listed his medals and wars. It did not mention the stolen fighter. At WW2 Impact, this story isn't just about an aircraft. It's about a man who refused to accept that surrender was his only option, and proved that sometimes, survival belongs to those willing to choose the impossible.